Okay, hi everybody, welcome. We're going to get moving here. Very happy to see everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. So we are welcome. So we when we last left our hero, we had finished the section of the book which is dealing with the whole life and the downfall of the quote-unquote Chochom, the sophisticate, and we began the introduction to the Tam. If you remember last time we said that it says in the Sefer, let's throw ourselves off from the Chochom and now talk about the Tam. And we said this is actually a message in and of itself. Let's throw that off. Let's throw off that Chochmah, that quote-unquote wisdom that can be so damaging. Let's throw it off, and now let's get into the Tam. Let's start to become the Tam. And so we started with the introduction of the Tam last week, the simpleton, and we're going to pick it up in the second part of the introduction of Rav Nissan Dovid Kiwak to the Tam, and then we'll get into Rav Arush also. But if you remember the last thing that we said by the Tam, we were talking about what is the destructive nature of this chachma, and we had this aspect of this das, that when a person has too much overthinking, too much das, too many wisdoms chachma, it's called a ribui or, it's too much light, and we don't have the vessels to contain it, and we don't have the proper vessels to hold that type of thought and that type of wisdom. Everything shatters, everything falls, right? And we said, what are the vessels to hold this? Are two things, are just good actions in the realm of deeds and in the realm of thought and good thoughts, good actions and good thoughts. So when we do good things, good simple things, mitzvahs, helping, chesed, tzedakah, regular mitzvahs also, tefillin, Shabbos candles, brachas, whatever it is, we do these things. And we do them with a sense that these things are important and that these things are special. They're a connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's doing good things. That gives a vessel for our wisdom to be able to go into. And so too, thinking good thoughts, right? Not being thankful to Hashem, not thinking about what other people have, but rather my own things, which we're going to see as a big thing over here. These are all things that give a vessel for that wisdom to hold. And the second thing is the main midah of the Tam is his unshakable emunah. And his emunah, that everything that he experiences is there for him, from Hashem, and is there for his good, to help him. It's meant for him, and it's meant to help him or her. And through this, the Tam leads a happy life, and he's besimcha all the time, because he sees, this is what he sees. Everything that happens, he sees it as just Hashem giving him what he needs at the current time. So we'll get into more details now. I was preparing for this when I was out in the Canadian wilderness last week, and I was reading this, and I wrote at the top that all of this is required reading. This whole introduction, like every word, we're going to read through, this is the second part of it, we're going to read through the whole thing, because it's all so special and so important. This is the Torah of Rav Nissan Dovid Kiwak, L'chaim. We're not actually in this book yet, but when we do go into it, probably maybe halfway through this year today, we'll be on page 115 in the Rav Arush book. Okay, so he says now, everybody ready? Second part of Rav Kiwak's introduction to the Tam. Umeidach, on the other hand, yesh adam shezoich lishmor Shabbos. What else can the Chochom do wrong? Let's see. There's a person who merits to be shomer Shabbos. He keeps Shabbos. Ve'eino sameach b'zeh, but he's not happy with it. Ki lo hirgish as hargashos hanalos lefi oitzim dargas chachmasi, because he doesn't feel high levels of existence. He's keeping Shabbos. He's making the Shabbos Sudas. He's going to shul. He's not doing malacha, but he's not plugged in to this powerful spiritual feeling, which we should want to be, right? that he feels that he should experience based on his tremendous chachma. Or he puts on tefillin. But he can't be happy about it because he's worried that maybe I'm missing something in Kedushas Habris. Meaning maybe he's not holding on such a level that his putting on of tefillin is going to be as much of a spiritual breakthrough as he wants it to be. Right? Because he's messed up a little bit in his life. So he can't be happy with it. Right? So in other words, this is a person who's doing mitzvahs, but he's not satisfied with the mitzvahs that he's doing. He doesn't think they're good enough, and therefore he can't be happy with it. There's something to pick on, right? This is polar opposite of Rabbi Nachman's teaching, by the way, which we'll talk about in a second. Yeah. And okay, v'chein b'parnasa, also too by parnasa. Listen to this one. Yesh lechem ve'ugerkis. You have a guy. He's got bread. He's got not just ugerkis ma'ulim, very nice high-end pickles, right? Good stuff. Uboiche she'ein lo parnasa, and he's crying because he doesn't have parnasa. He doesn't have enough money. V'chol hayom doeg al chesron osav, and the whole entire day he's worried about everything that he's lacking. V'rachoik mehoida la'Hashem yisbarach, and he's very, very far from being thankful. He's so far from gratitude. He's so far from being thankful to Hashem. For the fact that he could stand up on his feet and open his eyes. I can walk. I can see. He didn't think to thank Hashem for this? Even a simple person like us. Toida Rabba Yasher Koicham V'Tia Bari Ad Chasadim Nifloim V'Norim Ka'ele. Right? Can you imagine that if someone lost those abilities? This is a big vort people have talked about over and over again, but imagine if you lost your sight. Chas v'shalom, God forbid. Right? And then you got it, someone was able to give it back to you. A doctor, whatever it is. Right? Can you imagine the level of thankfulness and gratitude that you have to that person? You wouldn't be able to shut up about it, right? Or if you couldn't walk and someone helped you or whatever, simple things. We're much more able to thank people for things like this. I just had something like this. Yeah, just happened last week. My air conditioner broke down. Happens to be one guy that comes to the shul is a HVAC guy, and so he came, and he just started his own business. So I was like, oh, perfect timing. I'm going to call him. I mean, one of his first customers. He came over and he found out that it was just these two little parts that were electrical parts that were fried, and he replaced them, and it cost like $150. It was fixed like right away, right before the heat, and I can't tell you. This is not a level. This is not what we're talking about over here. But I can't tell you how thankful I was to him. I was like, wow, not only did you fix it so quickly, and like we didn't have to suffer through any heat, but it was so, like, if it was another person who I didn't know or trust, who knows what they would say is wrong. They'd be like, oh, the whole system's fried. You got to get a new everything. This guy I trust. He only replaced these two things and made it work perfectly. I was so thankful to him. I couldn't stop saying to him, I'm like, this is amazing, and you're so honest, and I can trust you. And I was just giving like so much gratitude to this guy, but he did it right in front of my face, right? It's easy for us to give thanks on such a thing, right? But do we think about how much we have to be thankful for to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for the everyday things that are 1,000,000 times greater than this guy who fixed my air conditioner? Who's an awesome guy, and he's great. Right? But like, wow. So many things to be thankful for. Our relationships, our family members, right? So this guy who has food, he's saying he has food. He has roof over his head. Right? He's got enough to be able to be okay. But he can't stop thinking about that he doesn't have enough parnasa. He can't stop thinking that he doesn't have enough. Right? He won't be happy.
You're talking about the Tom.
No.
Okay.
This is the Chochom. Yeah, we're still, I don't know why we're going back to the Chochom in the introduction to the Tam, but, right, he can't be happy. Right, so he would get, why are we forgetting to thank Hashem? Meaning, even if my parnasa isn't where I want it to be, I'm not making as much money as I think I should make, right? But don't, there's so much still to be thankful for. So much to be thankful for. Right? Like, I like to talk about negative things too much, but you have people who are super complainy about all kinds of things. And then on the other hand, like, I know someone who's a couple and the wife is dying right now. And they're young. They're young. And it's not like, I don't want to say to a person like, would you rather trade places or that's not really what it's about. It's not properly. But what it does mean is that there's something to be super duper thankful for, and you can see it could be gone in the blink of an eye. And so why not be thankful for it while it's not gone, right? Because you know what? It makes life so much happier, right? You ever done this trick? Do this trick. Call up a friend who's important to you, who you like, whatever. Just call up someone that you know, and say, you know what? I just wanted to call you up and tell you that I appreciate you. And you've really I really like this about our relationship. Thank you. I just want to say I appreciate you. That's it. Do you know what that does for that person? Okay, it's nothing. You know what it does for you. How great do you feel to be thankful to someone else? You go to say thank you to Hashem for if you, it's very hard because we have this in the morning, we have this list of tefillahs and it's so long and it's really, really hard to nail down and to have good intentions on all these things. But we have all these brachas that we say, 15 brachas in the morning that are all based on these things, that I can walk, that I woke up, that I have eyesight, that I can stand up straight, that I'm not like there's all these blessings of gratitude, right? That I have wonderful friends that come here, right? Baruch Hashem. Welcome, Lori. Right? So it makes a person seeing positive and seeing good in the world makes for a happy life. It makes for happiness. It's a good way to live, right? But people will look at us, like we said last week, and they'll say, "Oh, you're just appreciating these like things that you always had, like you don't have aspirations for more, whether or not I have aspirations for more. Okay, I'm gonna try and grow always, of course, but so what? What would you rather be? You could be a happy person. You could be blown away every day by amazing miracles that we have, if we focus on them. And you think it's naive? You think it's silly? Okay, think what you want. Like I said last week, I'm burying my head in the ground. Yes, I am, on purpose. I don't need all that garbage. I want to do good things. I want to do meaningful things. I want to accomplish things that I can accomplish. And kol zman that I'm in all these realms of Chochmah, I can't do it. Okay. So he became but the Tam, he doesn't live like this. The Tam becomes a shoemaker. And the shoemaker takes leather and he works it and he fixes it and it's a lowly type of work, right? But he gets into it and he refines the leather and he makes it good and he fixes shoes. And he does it with a certain simcha. And one of the aspects that the shoemaker is trying to teach us over here is to be a person, to be a Tam, to be a person who guards his soul, his or her soul, even in the times when we're low, when we're like a shoe at the very bottom, right? In those times when we don't feel good and we don't feel connected, right? When the Tam, even in those times, he maintains an aspect of thankfulness. He maintains an aspect of simcha. So the Tam, in the story, he doesn't have anything. He's not good, even at being a shoemaker. He doesn't make a lot of money, right? He doesn't have much to be happy about in the view of many people. But he's happy all the time. And he's doing his job. And he keeps busy, and he keeps working. And because of this, because of his simplicity and his perseverance, he just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. Always. This is amazing. This is the life of the Tam. So he's called the shoemaker. He works on shoes because even in the low times, even in the times when you're at the bottom of the feet, right? He's still looking for things to be thankful for. He's still looking for things to be happy about, and he's still working, right? Okay, let's see. Ki amitas tamimus ha'avoida hirak al yedei. We're about to hit on a Rabbi Nachman principle that we've talked about many times, and we're bringing it back again. No pun intended. But ki amitas tamimus ha'avoida hi. The true tamimus, the true simplicity, awesomeness of avoida is what? Rak al yedei ribui ha'haschalos. Is many, many, many new beginnings. Many, many, many starting freshes, refreshings, right? V'ad shezoicha adam liskadesh karoi alav lahaschil ribui ribe revavois shalaschalais. Until a person merits to become more holy, more plugged in, as he should be, and to begin many, many myriad times, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s of times, starting fresh, starting again. V'lo nitzrach liyos tam v'yashar im atzmoi v'lozeh nitzrach liyos tam v'yashar im atzmoi v'im Hashem Yisbarach. And in order to do this, a person has to be tam v'yashar, simple and straight, pure and straight with himself and with Hashem. We're going to talk about this in a second. Let's just break for a second and talk about new beginnings and starting fresh and the importance, right? Because there's nothing more characteristic of the quote-unquote Chochom than having wisdom type of thoughts, having this quote-unquote impure wisdom that's attached to the past, that's attached to what did I do wrong, how can I fix, how can I, just the negativity of the past, being pulled as a weight to all the things that I ever did wrong by living in the past. Making a new start and saying, you know what, forget it. It's brand new. I'm starting fresh now, right? You ever do something super embarrassing? Yeah. Right? You ever? I don't know if I can bring up any examples here or not. But imagine you have a child. Imagine you have a school-age child, and they, they're in school and the whole class is there, and imagine they pee their pants in class, right? Yeah, a young kid. Maybe we all did it, I don't know. Right? And they get up and everyone sees. And everyone knows what happened, right? So, chances are the kids are going to forget about it after, maybe by the next day, maybe after a couple of days, unless they're those real, what kind of kids. But but a person can drive themselves crazy and can be like, oh, I can never go back to the school. It's time to move. We got to move cities now, right? So this person, right? If they would just start fresh, they'd be like, you know what? That happened. It's embarrassing. But you know what? I'm gonna go back to class. I'm gonna continue with my friends. I'm gonna continue learning. Or they can be just stuck in the past and never want to go back to class. And right, we can miss out on a whole life if we're held back because of the past. So I'm starting fresh. Hashem created me new again today. Hashem's giving me everything I need today to move forward. So why am I going to allow myself to be pulled back by the past? Right? So in order to do this, he says, this is some serious, we're going to have some Gedalia Fenster talk over here. And this is something that we say a lot over here already. And Sandra likes to say this one. But he says, in order to do this, in order to make fresh starts, and in order to be in this realm of a tam, a person has to, and then to be a tam with ourselves and with Hashem, a person has to ladas heitev ma makoymai. A person has to know what is his place. What is his or her place? Lafi haseichel hameir, according to the way my intellect is illuminated at the moment, oy machshich leisata, or my intellect is darkened at the current time. Ulafia ma'avarim, and according to what's happening to me, shabeis hazois right now. Who am I? What's in my intellect? What's my capabilities? And what am I going through right now? I have to be able to look at myself and say, this is me. This is me. where I am right now, with these challenges and these abilities, in the place I find myself right now, this is where I have to exist. This is where I have to work. This is where I have to do what I have to do. Right? That's knowing your place. What is this? Welcome, ladies. This is the famous statement that we talk about all the time of staying in your lane. Right? Because what happens? This is what happens if we try to be somewhere else or someone else. If we think I can't be in this current situation that I'm in, I need to be much higher than this. I need to have a much higher parnasa. This is not enough honor for me, right? I need to be in a much greater position than I am right now, right? So what am I doing? I'm projecting myself somewhere else where I'm not here right now. This is not where Hashem put me. This is not where I'm supposed to be, right? So I'm going to miss out on the place that Hashem put me and the thing that He put me here to do. I'm not going to be doing it because I think I should be somewhere else. I look at someone else and I say, why does that person get to drive that kind of car? Why does that person get to have that spouse? Why does that person have this talent and I don't? Why does that person have so much more money than me and I don't have it? And I can think of all these reasons and why really I'm better than that person and I should be there and I should be then and it's not fair. And I could spend my whole life thinking this way. So besides for the fact that I'll be miserable, right? What am I doing? I'm totally, completely ignoring the person that Hashem made me, the place that He put me, and the things that He put me here to do. I'm saying, what you gave me, Hashem, to do right now, I disagree. I should be a different person in a different place with different circumstances. Only if I'm able to stay in my lane, to stay where I am, to understand. Ladas heitev ma makomo. To know very well what's my place, who am I, and what's my place. Now I can do what Hashem put me here to do. So you can understand very well why a person who doesn't think this way can get stuck in a rut for a very long time. Why? Because they're never actually getting to their whole purpose, the things that they're actually supposed to do in the world, right? Remember we said that a person can only be sameach bechalkai, can only be happy with their lot, if they're actually doing what their lot is, right? Hashem put us here, and we all have talents and abilities, and we all have things that we have to do, and that we're able to do. And that's why we're here. And when we do those things that we're able to do, that Hashem connects us to, we're doing something meaningful. And so long as we're doing something meaningful with everything that Hashem gave us, we will be sameach bechalkai. But if we're always looking to someone else, we're trying to be someone else, we're trying to be in a different place, at a different status, whatever it is, we're ignoring the job that we were given. We're ignoring the abilities that we were given. We're not going to be able to feel happy because we're just not accomplishing it. Our soul will tell us, you're not doing the meaningful thing that you're supposed to be doing, right? So this is stay in your lane. This is don't try to be someone else. Don't try to be somewhere else, right? But to be thankful for where Hashem put us and what He gave us. So He says, we have to be so careful to guard ourselves that we don't abandon where we are and we don't try to skip to another place. Obviously, the same thing we're saying. What do? We look at ourselves where we are right now and we take upon ourselves the work of being a shoemaker. What does that mean? It just means Look where I am. Don't try to skip. Don't try to go somewhere else. Don't say the place where Hashem put me is beneath me. Look what I have, who I am with, what my abilities are, and do what I can do. Do good things. Good, meaningful, positive things in that place. Yeah? Okay, so he's going to bring it into another realm now. In this realm of wisdom. And like us, so everyone here has done the next few words. Hare ta'amta kvar pam tam ashirus besifrei hatzadikim. You've tasted a little bit of the tremendous spiritual wealth in the holy books. Right? Learned a little bit of awesome Torah from the tzaddikim, and it was inspiring, and you're like, oh, this is good for me, l'chaim. Al tistoivev im tainos. Don't hang around now with tainos, with what's a good word for this? With claims against, right? With problems. I don't know. There's a better English word for this. What? Complaints, or like questions coming from the wrong type of place. You know, because there's going to be an end. There's going to be an end to the inspiration that you feel. And kama shata chacham, and the extent to which you think you're a chacham, in this wisdom that you're learning now, habal davar yoser chacham mimcha. The Satan, the Yetzer Hara, is much smarter than you, is much more of a chacham, and he's going to take you on this. You think that you're gonna come now, listen to some words of Rabbi Nachman, and now start to be like, okay, you know what? I'm going to out Rabbi Nachman. I'm going to now come and I'm going to show why this happens, especially if the Torah is not from your kfutza, not from your group, right? Okay, I'm a yeshivish person, or let's say I'm a breslever. I'm going to learn some Chabad Torah, and I'm going to find all the things that's wrong with it. So now I can go and show what's wrong with it, or the other way around. Whatever my group is, I'm going to go to the other group and show them what's wrong with them. First of all, don't try to outsmart anyone from the Chabad dynasty. It won't work. Don't try to outsmart Rabbi Nachman. It's not going to happen. Don't try to outsmart any of the Rosh Hashivas. It's not going to work, right? It's not going to work. But this is the way that we can feel. We can feel like I'm not learning because I want to accept and I want to receive this tremendous inspiration and wisdom and awesomeness, right? I have my tainas. I'm gonna learn this stuff, and I'm gonna figure out where I can show what the real Torah is, right? You know what's gonna happen if you start doing this? Your head is gonna bring you into a place of filth, and all kinds of questions and all kinds of things that you're never gonna get answers for. Because you have ribui or again, once more, you're thinking too much, overthinking, and it's coming from the wrong place. And you're not able to handle it. You don't have the vessels to be able, the kelim, to be able to put all these thoughts and all this wisdom into a healthy place. So there won't be there's no answers for those questions. It doesn't work. And you're going to find yourself in such a place. There's no advice and there's no understanding. You're not going to get it. Ki'im, except for what? Ki'im emuna peshuta b'Hashem Yisbarach. Simple emun in Hashem. Liyos adam pashat l'kayim Torah mitzvahs v'leleches b'darchei avoseinu. To do Torah and mitzvahs, learn Torah, do mitzvahs, and go in the way of our ancestors. Pashat lakum b'boiker v'leches l'tefillah. Right? Okay, there's going to be a real Breslev statement over here, but before we get to that, just with the learning. Right? Learn this Torah with a desire that I want to receive something from it. Right? If I'm learning with a desire that I want to slug it up, I want to be able to remember we said before, the characteristic of the Chochom is that he wants everybody to see his talents. Everything has to be in public. You see what I'm able to do. Right? So it's the opposite. Learn the Torah of the tzaddikim with the intent just that I want to receive something from it. I want to receive wisdom. I want to receive holiness. I want to receive inspiration, right? And I'm going to keep my mouth shut. Obviously, once again, we ask questions, and we're allowed to, and it's good, it's healthy, and it's positive. But when they're coming from a place like this, like from a pure place, I want to connect to Hashem. I want to connect to these tzaddikim, right? Not because I want to display my intellect. Danger. Okay, so this is the simple way to be a Jew, to do good things for the right reason, to learn Torah for the right reason, to go to. So he says, Pashit, lakum b'boiker v'leches l'tefillah. Wake up in the morning and go to shul. If you're a man, ladies could go also, but super Breslov. Listen to this. Gam she'icharta, and also if you were late, you woke up late. Tismach baruch Hashem kamtin lifnei chatzos. be happy that, thank God, I woke up before midday. I can still pray in somewhat of the right time, right? Baruch Hashem, Yatsasi mi amita. Baruch Hashem, today I got out of bed. V'teh malei simcha, v'chiyus mizeh. I should be filled with simcha and with life from this. V'loi livkois. And I shouldn't spend my whole tefillah crying that I didn't pray with the rising sun. Right? I just want to tell you, I know a lot of people, and I'm one of them, who would often fall into such a trap. That if I would sleep in the morning, I would feel just like, well, I ruined everything. And this whole day is shot. It's done. And you can be unhappy, you can be depressed. I see this with young boys, especially a lot. It's hard for teenagers to wake up. And if they don't have the right outlook, they can just mope around the whole day. The whole day could be gone, right? Or you can be like, okay, you know what? I slept in. But, Baruch Hashem, I'm up now. It's still before Chatzah, it's still before midday. I can still daven. And you know what? Even if I didn't make a minyan, I'm going to put on my tefillin and I'm going to do what I got to do. And then I can go and start the day and feel okay with myself. Right? I didn't tell you. I didn't see you guys yet since this. So I made this video for Rabbi Yaakov Klein, right? And but I wasn't sure that I was going to make it in time. Did I tell you this? No, I didn't. Yeah. So he asked me to do it a long time ago. And there was a deadline for it. And I missed the deadline. I totally forgot about it. So I got a message from him saying, hey, are you going to make this video for me? And I said to him, oh, yeah, if I could still do it, I thought I missed the boat. So he sent me back a message. He says, a Breslover never misses the boat. He's just early for the next one. Happens to be I really didn't miss the boat, and the timing worked out. Yeah, the video came out. So Baruch Hashem. But what do you want to do? Do you want to take that little thing that you did and have it ruin the rest of your day? And ruin the day of everyone else? You know how everyone else feels when you got someone moping around and in a bad mood all the time? It's not good for the rest of the people around you either. It's hard, right? So, okay, I made a mistake. You know what it's time for? Hischadshus. It's a renewal. It's a new start. Right now. This is what he's saying over here. This is the importance of making a new start. Don't ruin the whole day. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, whatever that means. Don't ruin the whole day and the day of other people. Mamish. Begam be'es hayarida. And this is the biggest one of all. Begam be'es hayarida. And even when we find ourselves living in a place of yarida, we're in a slump. Things are low. Things are not going well. We're finding ourselves in a yarida. So what do we think then? Yismach al shezoicha lavoid es Hashem betoich hasha'ol tachtis. I should be besimcha and be happy that I'm able to serve Hashem from the lowest place. Wow, Hashem gave me the opportunity to do the hardest job. He must love me. There's a famous story of Reb Zusha and the Noam Elimelech when they were in a Russian prison. It's a famous story. You heard about this one? They were in a Russian prison, and so Reb Zusha was the person who was always happy, always able to find the good in anything, right? This is Reb Zusha. So they found themselves in a Russian prison, and right in the middle of the prison, there was this pot that was used for going to the washroom, and so the Noam Elimelech was like, oh, we can't. This is terrible. Now we can't daven, we can't learn Torah because there's stinky stuff right here, and you're not allowed to have divrei Torah and to daven in such a place. So Reb Zusha said, oh, Baruch Hashem, we can serve Hashem without davening and without learning. We can be happy that Hashem put us here and He gave us the opportunity to serve Him without these things, right? I may be misquoting the story. Anyway, so they started dancing around the pot, just happy that they've in the place they are, even in this low place. They said, "We can serve Hashem from here." Wow, what a huge mitzvah! So then the guard came and said, "What are you guys doing?" And they said, "We're happy that we're able to serve Hashem, even with this pot of excrement in the middle of the floor." And the guard said, "Forget it! I'm not letting you do that." And he took the thing out. So now they could daven and learn. And the real question of that story is, which one is higher? Which one's bigger? Is it the dancing when the pot's there, or is it the learning when they took it out? It's not so simple. Right? So we should be happy. We can be happy. We can even be happy. I know we should be happy. It's not a lecture. But we could be happy, finding ourselves in a low place and saying, wow, I'm Baruch Hashem, I'm able to serve Hashem from such a low place. Right? It's really, if we had a lot more time, we could talk about it from the perspective of the Torah of Rabbi Shimon Morgenstern, about how it's really the purpose of all creation. We're going to get to it a little bit at the end of this piece. But this is Hashem doesn't need us to shine the light everywhere, right? He made us so that even in the dark places, His light could be revealed. Or even in the dark places, we know that it's still Hashem, even though we don't see the light. We can do this. Angels can't do this. No one else can do this. Once Hashem decided to make creation, this is something that He can only do with us. Right? It's a big schus. This is the whole purpose of our avodah, of our creation, is that we go into a place that's a mixture of good and evil. And Amalek is trying to grab us from every side. And it's a place of tests, constant tests. And this place where we're constantly tested, he's giving us a definition of the famous Rabbi Nachman statement in song, right? Kol ha'olam kulai gesher tzar ma'od. It's a narrow bridge. What is it? It's that everywhere we look, there's tests. We're going to fall over here. We're going to fall over here, right? We're going to be tested all the time. Everywhere we look. This is the place of Gesher Tzar Me'od. V'makom shel nisyonos shebehem Gesher Tzar Me'od. V'abal davar miyageya u'me'ayev es koichos haguf ha'nefesh. And the Yetzer Hara, the Satan, is putting us through the ringer, and he's weakening us and tiring us, our body and our soul, making it so hard. Aval im kol zeh hatam ma'amin k'sheshem sheyecholim lakalkal yecholim l'sakin. Tam, even in this place, even throughout all this, the Tam has this belief. This is another very, very famous Rabbi Nachman's statement, which is Imata ma'amin sheyecholim lekalkel. If you believe that you can mess something up, that you can destroy something, you can wreck something, then ta'amin sheyecholim letaken. Then you have to believe also that you have the ability to fix it. Right? The Tam knows that wherever I am, I'm going to have the ability that just like I can mess things up, I also can also make a tikkun. I can also fix things. So wherever he finds himself, it's a low place, okay? It's difficult, but I'm going to be happy that I can do my part in this low place. This is a very high level, by the way, just in case. This is not easy existence. This is a very high level. To be really in difficult times, painful, hard, challenging times, and to be able to be besimcha, right? But it's in everybody's hands to do it. We can do it. We just got to keep talking together like this, and we'll make it together. Kamoy ratzan, just like a shoemaker. Shembakabel nal karua. He takes a torn shoe. Meroifet v'hu me'abed v'toifer oid chaticha ad sheyotze mashu she'efshar loivshoy b'diavad. He takes, like in the old days, what happens if your shoes wear out nowadays and you get a rip or something like that? What do? Garbage, buy a new pair, right? Nobody fixes shoes anymore, as far as I can see anyway. Right? But that's not the way it used to be. These things were hard to come by and expensive, and the whole mentality used to be, that you fix, you sew, you darn socks, right? You fix things. You don't just go get new ones, right? So what does the shoemaker do? The classic shoemaker? Someone comes to him with a ripped, broken shoe. And so what does he do? He does what he has to, whatever he can. He cleans it, he fixes it up, he cuts out a patch piece of leather, and he sews it in, and he fixes it up so that now it can be worn. He says, b'diavad, okay, it's not new, but I fixed it up, so you can wear it now. So where do I find myself? Where do I find myself in life? It's a hard time. I'm being tested, and it's really difficult. Okay? I gotta start sewing the patches together. I'm gonna do what I can to make a tikkun right now. I'm going to fix things up. Hashem put me here to serve Him in this place. I can be besimcha that I'm able to serve Hashem from this place and to fix the shoe up. That's the work That's why the Tam, his first job, is to be a shoemaker. This is the whole lesson from it. You with me? Ki ba'avodas Hashem hatam mesameach es atzmai gam keshabal lamatzah mekukol. When it comes to avodas Hashem, the Tam makes himself happy, even in the places of destruction, the places of real difficulty. Ki ma'amin sheyarad lakan kedei letaken zeh, because he believes that the whole reason that he came to this place is in order to fix, in order to rectify. That's the only reason that I'm here. L'zaken zeh hamakom k'tzas v'od k'tzas. This hit me very hard. This piece over here. Okay. Have you ever either been a person or known a person? I know a lot of you well, so have you ever either been a person or known a person who has certain struggles and who works on them and makes some headway sometimes, but then often they find themselves back in the same place, right? And it's hard. It's not easy. Sometimes it takes a long time. Sometimes it takes months. Sometimes it takes years to get through certain aspects of life, certain tests, certain challenges, certain character traits, whatever it is, right? So he's saying over here something. This is, in my opinion, one of the most important things, and it hit me very hard over here. He says, "Ki ma'amin sheyorad lakan." The Tam believes that he descended down into this place. Kedei lasaken zeh hamakom, in order to fix this place, to rectify this place, to make a tikkun in this place, whatever that is for each person. Kitzas ve'od kitzas. You're not going to fix it all at once. A little bit now, and then you know what? I'm going to come back, and I'm going to fix it a little bit more. Kitzas ve'od kitzas. Little by little. And you know, I'm going to have to keep coming back. And every time, maybe I'll get a little bit better. But you know, there's so much to talk about here. Like we could seriously spend the next half hour over here. V'teichef u'miyad sameach al harevach miyad liyad. And he's right away, he's happy with the fact that he's able to accomplish something basically over here. Ve'ein loy havana akuma sheish mashu yosher tov. And he has no crooked understanding of the world that there's something better than this. That there's something, I should be somewhere else. I deserve something different. Right? Rather, I have to be here, and I have to make a tikkun here. And you know what? The tikkun is a little bit now. I'm going to come back and make another little bit of a tikkun, and another little bit of a tikkun. Remember, this thing that we saw, this is from a Torah in Likutei Moharan, but it's brought down in B'yam Darkecha, also from the Torah of Rabbi Shemayr, that one of the most important things that we have to know is because we see this happen in our lives, that we think like we've been working on something, and it keeps coming back. It could be like a character trait, could be anger, could be taivas, physical desires, right? Could be arrogance. It could be any of these things. But we see it keeps coming back, and we think that we're growing, and we're working on this. So why? And then we wonder, why am I falling back into this, Hashem? Right? So one of the things that we see in the Torah of the Tzaddikim is that we got it totally backwards. We think that we're backsliding and just fighting the same battles because we didn't accomplish anything ever, right? So Rabbi Nachman tells us, no, what happens is every time we break through to a new level, right? Every time we break through to a new level, it's like we got to a new orange, right? And the fruit is in the middle, and outside is the klipa that stops us from getting to the fruit, right? And so we have to first break through that klipa, we have to peel the orange in order to get to it. Kabbalistically, every time we ascend up and we go to a new level, the negative forces, the forces of evil in that place, want to stop us from getting to the chiyus, the life force, and the shefa, the energy that's in that place. So when we start to get those tests and feel those challenges, it's not because we fell back. If we fell back, we'd just be coasting. The Satan is so happy when we just fall back. He doesn't touch us. He lets us go. Right? But when we go to a new level, oh boy, he can't stand it. And he starts throwing these things back at us. So we think that, why can't I just improve? I'm facing the same thing that I faced before. It's not the same thing. Right? It's a similar challenge, but he's telling us over here, these two things combined are amazing. I got to a new level, and now those negative forces are coming at me, and I'm going to fight this again. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a tikkun Ktsas. I'm going to make a little tikkun here. And then when I get to the next level, I'm going to have to make another tikkun ktsas. I keep going, and I'm going to keep chopping away until I wipe it out, and I'm at the next level. Maybe I'll wipe that thing out of my life, and I'll have a new thing to focus on. Who knows? But I don't have this Havana Akuma, this crooked thought that why am I here? I deserve better. I should be like that person. I deserve better is not really, I don't want to sound mean because it's very hard and people suffer and it's really difficult, right? I don't mean to sound mean, but it's the idea that I should be like that person. I should have what that person has. Why don't I get to have that life? Why don't I get to have what they have, right? And so generally speaking, such a person who's not, like we said over here, if we're not doing what we're supposed to do with what we have, we'll never be happy, because we're trying to be someone else, and when we're not accomplishing our mission, we're not accomplishing something meaningful with the tools that Hashem gave us to be meaningful, our soul won't be happy. We'll feel it. Okay, the conclusion in Rav Kiwak now of this introduction says like this. This is pretty sweet also. It says, Zehu inyan hamasim hatovim ba'olam ha'asiyah. This is the inyan of the good deeds that we do in the world of Asiyah, of the four Kabbalistic worlds, right? Atzilus, Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiyah. It's the lower level where the physical world is found at the bottom of that level. Bechinas Shem Ban. So it's the aspect of the Shem Ban. That's of the name of Hashem Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. If you remember, it has 4 ways that those letters are filled out, and the gematrias of those are 72, 63, 45, and 52. So it's Ab, Sag, Ma, and Ban is the last one, 52, right? And that name of Hashem that adds up to 52, all the letters are doubled. So it's Hey Hey, Vav Vav, Hey Hey. Okay? So it's called it has different names, but one of the aspects is that it's doubled. It's like kaful. Okay, you with me? So this existence is the reason why, or is a connection to the fact that Avram Avinu, Shekana Avram Avinu, es ma'aras ha'machpelah. He bought the cave of the patriarchs, where all of the patriarchs are buried over there, right, in Hebron. It's called Ma'aras ha'machpelah. Why? Anybody remember their day school education? Kaful because of the pairs that are buried there, right? Adam and Chava, Avram and Sarah, Yitzchak and Rivka, and Yaakov and Leah, right? Are buried there. Ma'aras ha'machpelah. Or because of the 2 worlds, it's like the gateway to the next world, so it's Olam Hazeh, Olam Haba. Ma'aras ha'machpelah, double. So it happens to be that the name of Hashem that associates with the lowest level of existence in the physical world is the name of doubling also. Right? So this concept of doubling has something to do with being in the low physical world. So how does he explain it? He says, Sha'adam tzarech likbar es atzmai b'toich malchus de kedusha. A person has to bury himself or herself in the malchus de kedusha, into the kingdom of holiness. Malchus is the lowest of the levels. This is where, in our world here, this is where Hashem we're trying to reveal the malchus of Hashem in this world. Lasois ma'isa toiv b'zeh ha'olam, to do something good in this world. Bli chochma kuma, without any crooked thoughts, crooked wisdom. Im hirgish or lo hirgish, whether we feel it or we don't feel it. Rak lahamlich as Hashem, to crown Hashem as king. Afilu bli hargasha v'havana, even if I don't feel it, and even if I don't understand it. Right? This is this world. This is existence. This is what the Tam does. Imagine if we would only serve Hashem when it felt good. Just to understand that for a second. Imagine if we would only be nice to our spouse when it felt great. And imagine when things came up, because, everybody knows it's not always perfect. Things don't always go smoothly in a relationship, right? So, maybe sometimes we don't have to imagine too hard. That when things come up, we just get angry and we get reactive and we fight and we push and right? So if you have a relationship where people work on themselves in this way, in a way that even when things are difficult, I make my ego take a back seat, and I say, okay, this is not the place for me to be right. It's not the place for me to show through my intellect why I believe that you're wrong and I'm right. So I'm going to win the fight. Is that helping anything ever? Does it ever work out well? It doesn't work out well. It doesn't work.
So you win.
Right? Yeah, you won. Great.
Are you happy?
Yeah, you're happy, and your spouse feels like this tall. It's not nice, and it's not good. So but in that place to say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna do whatever I can to make the malchus. So I'm gonna apologize. I'm gonna say I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm arguing. You don't have to say you're right. I'm wrong. Just, I'm really sorry. I'm not treating you well. I'm not being a supportive spouse. Right? It's not, and I apologize. I'm really sorry. Right? Now you can have some light. Now you can have some or. So too, we find just like we know that we have to be a good spouse, even in those difficult times. Right? Doesn't it make sense also that we have to serve Hashem even in the difficult times when we don't feel it? I have to be a good spouse when I don't feel it. I certainly have to be a good father when I don't feel it. Right? When I'm annoyed with the kids or upset or whatever it is. I have to be smart. I have to do things right. I have to think. I can't fly off the handle. So too, even with Hashem, when I don't feel good, I still have to be mamlich the king. It's the same thing. So this is where we find ourselves, coming up to the story of the Tam. You ready with me? Yeah. Okay. If you want, you can open to page 115 in this book, and we have just a few minutes left. So we'll begin. We'll begin with Rabbi Arush's parish of the beginning of the story. So just like we said before from Rav Kiwak, the story over here says, Nashlich es a Chochom. Now let us leave the story of the clever one for the time being, and we'll start to tell the story of the simple one. So Rabbi Arush says the same thing like he said over there. Rabbi Nachman wants us to put this ridiculous type of wisdom aside, put the logic aside, put these quote unquote Chochma aside that's ruining our lives, right? And let's try now to understand how to be the Tam. And he says that this is what happened in Mitzrayim also. So let's see what the story says. The above mentioned simple one learned the trade of cobbling, shoemaking. And because he was simple, he learned a long time until he was able to grasp the trade. And even then, he wasn't fully proficient. He wasn't so good. So the Tam, he says, is the opposite of the Chochom. He's the opposite of the clever one. Clever one was good at everything, super talented. He could learn how to be a goldsmith in a quarter of the time that it took everyone else, right? He was very, 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 very proficient. The Tam had to try really hard, and even so, it didn't come so quickly to him. So he married a woman. So if you remember, the Chochom kept pushing off, and he knew that the goal was to marry a woman, but he said, in the meantime, I don't have to do that yet. And he started going on this journey that just tore him down and farther away from the place that he wanted to be. But the Tam, he gets up and gets married right away. Right away. So Rav Arush lists over here 8 reasons why, according to our sages, a person should get married at a young age. Okay? They're good. They're a little Israeli at times, but a little in your face. But let's read them. Our sages teach us not to delay doing a mitzvah once we have the opportunity to perform the mitzvah. So we have a mitzvah to get married. Pru be fruitful and multiply. So what's the delay? Do the mitzvah as soon as you can. Reason number 1. Another reason is that especially for men, it's hard to maintain a level of physical purity in the realm of relations without getting married. It's not, we all have physical desires, and to be in a healthy marriage is the right, not only the right, it's a very holy outlet for those types of desires. So it's a healthy way to proceed. 3, an unmarried person is not a whole person because he or she lacks a soulmate whom he or she can derive tremendous strength and gratification. So therefore, a person should get married as soon as they're mature enough. And if a person thinks, he says, that they have to first get educated and they have to first do all this and all this and all that, he says it's not going to work. It's not the way to do it. Because when a person gets married, they will be settled in a certain way that they'll be able to learn better. They'll be able to do better. And he says that he brings from the Likutei Moharan that the entire parnasa, this is from a man perspective, of a man comes through his wife. Right? So what does that mean? It means, on a deep level, Kabbalistically, that only when the spheres of Yesod and Malchus are channeling the way they're supposed to channel in the Kabbalistic realm, that's when the energy flows the way it's supposed to flow. And if a person does not have that Malchus, if a man doesn't have that Malchus, and of course the lady is Malchus, I didn't have to say that, right? Every lady knows that she's Malchus. And it's not, things aren't flowing the way they're supposed to flow, right? It's the importance of why a husband has to treat his wife with the utmost reverence and respect, and why shalom bayis is such an important thing, is because everything in the life of the husband and the wife is going to flow the way it's supposed to flow only when that Yesod and Malchus are functioning the way they're supposed to function. When things flow that way, when there's shalom bayis, it's because everything's flowing the way it's supposed to flow. Parnasa flows, good vibes flow, good energy flows. Everything goes. Right? Okay. 4, the great rabbis of Israel almost all married at a young age. So too, Rabbi Nachman got married at 13. Rabbi Nissan got married at 13. That's the age they used to get married at. He got his first follower on his wedding day, and when he was 13 years old. I don't know if we talked about this before. Rabbi Nachman wrote a book. They say it was like when he was 9 years old, called Sefer Hamidas. And later on, Rav Tzadok HaKohen of Lublin, you know who he is? He was like one of the big Talmidei Chachamim, a Hasidic leader. He wrote a commentary on this book that Rabbi Nachman wrote when he was 9. Wild stuff, right? So I guess it's hard to kind of learn from Rabbi Nachman to us, but I always like to think, can you imagine what 13-year-old kids are doing nowadays? And yeah, right, and like what their thoughts are, and it's a whole. Anyway, at least we can see that there's something about getting married younger. Number 5, a couple living in holiness is the ideal vessel for abundance. Okay, that's what kind of we said before also. 6, since a married person must provide for a wife and children, he gives Hashem the reasons to give him the blessings of an income and a livelihood, as well as a good character. Okay, you put yourself in a situation where you have to be married, husband or wife, and you have to provide for a family and kids, husband and wife, and you have to have shalom bayis. Hashem is going to give the help that we need if we're doing the right thing, right? If we go down the path of doing good things, Hashem is going to help us from above. So if we put ourselves in such a situation, Hashem will help us more. 7, marriage gives a person stability and motivation. A married person has a reason to apply himself. He's much more serious and mature and less confused and swayed. Okay, maybe. I don't know. The younger a person is, the more adaptable he or she is to a spouse. Younger parents often have a closer rapport with their children. This, I think, is very, very apparent a lot of the time. Not always, right? But you know, it's just pashut. When the older we get more set in our ways. We get more used to certain ways of existing. It's harder to integrate, right? We're less flexible. We're less pliable. Yeah, and okay, there's exceptions to all these, of course, obviously, right? So it's a good idea to get married young. Meaning what? I'll tell you what I take from this, and I think this is the real message over here, is that the person who's a Chochom, quote unquote Chochom, will use all of these as reasons not to get married. And will think about all of these things and overthink them and think, what if I do? But if I get married now, then how am I gonna? If I don't have a degree yet, what's gonna be? And I have to first do this and he's saying, no, don't be such a Chochom. Just get married, and that's what's gonna help everything to flow. Yeah. Okay.
Remember, you can still plan, you can still be normal. Just don't overthink and don't overcomplicate and bring this Chochom of Tumah into your life. Okay, good. Another thing he says over here is that with Emunah, we know that it's all Hashgacha Pratis. It's all divine providence who we're going to marry. So we have to do our part, right? This is another thing where you see there's a trait that is very, very, very common with people who take a really, really long time to get married or never get married. Or even it applies in dating also. And that is the overthinker. Right? Because they're constantly analyzing and thinking about and worrying about outcomes and what's going to be. But if I marry this person and then this, then what if they do this and what if they do this, what if they do this, and like they're like 15 steps ahead of things that have never happened, and because of this they're worried and they're never gonna get married, right? Whereas the way of hishtadlus and Emunah and Hashgacha Pratis is I'm gonna do my part, and I'm gonna allow Hashem to do the rest. I'm gonna try my best. He brings something interesting here. He says, for those in doubt, the Arizal said that if you end up under the chuppah, then you know that's your b'shert. Whatever happened before, if you end up under the chuppah, that was your b'shert. It was meant to be. Okay, tiny bit more. And he made a living from his work. However, because he was simple, he was not so proficient in the trade, and so his earnings were meager and limited. So he did not even have time to eat, because he had to work constantly, since he couldn't perform his work skillfully. So while he worked, he made a hole in the leather, hit with his awl, and inserted and withdrew the thick sewing thread, the way cobblers do, and he would snatch a bite of bread and eat while he was doing his work. So what's he saying over here? Rav Arush says that in complete contrast to the clever one, this is at the bottom of page 118, by the way, in complete contrast to the clever one, the simple one had no spare time. That's healthy, because he had no time for confusion or depression. On the other hand, the clever one had all the time in the world to clutter his thoughts with musings, fantasies, and worries. The overthinker. Always just thinking and worrying and making up stories about what might be and what could be. Right? So we'll finish with this part. If it's the middle paragraph of page 119. So, as opposed to the clever one, who attained everything readily and with ease, the simple one struggled with everything he did. Right? The Chochom, he was super talented. He could learn anything. He could do everything. Right? Compared to the clever one, the simple one had what appears to be a dreadful existence. Right? This guy is not talented. He's not making money. He doesn't have enough food, or he barely has enough food. Right? It looks terrible. So let's ask ourselves, which of the two should be happy? Which of the two should be happy? Undoubtedly, we'd answer the clever one. What can we expect from a simple person who can't do anything properly? Wouldn't we expect to see him sad and depressed, broken down from envy, crying and complaining? Right? But what do we see? We see it's the absolute opposite. The Chochom, who's super good at everything, who could literally do anything. He had, by a few paragraphs into the story, he had already, after a few years, become a goldsmith, become a gem cutter. He became a doctor. And he was the most miserable person in the world. He thought he was higher than everybody. He didn't want to talk to anybody because they were beneath him. He was never happy with any place that he went because the lodgings weren't to his standards. Right? He complained with everything that he came in contact with. He's always unhappy. However, what do we say about the Tam? The story says he was habitually very happy all the time, and he was only filled with happiness always. Rabbi Nachman hereby teaches us that anyone can be happy. Happiness does not depend on external factors, but wholly on the emunah that Hashem does everything for the very best. It doesn't matter what a person's qualifications or lack of them are. If he's happy with his lot in life, he'll always be happy. So this sounds simple. I know what you're thinking. Rabbi, are you crazy? Are you naive? That's it? I should just be happy with emunah that everything is for my best? And I'm telling you once again, yes, that's what I'm saying. Yes, ignore the other thoughts. And ignore all this stupidity in the world and all the things that they tell us we need. Right? Just to know that wherever I find myself, Hashem put me here, and whatever I'm experiencing right now is meant for me. And if I can turn that into happiness, I will get through these tests in a totally different way. I'll have a happy life all the time. And the statement that I wrote down over here, which is extremely, extremely important, is happiness is a choice. It's not a result of something else. Happiness is a choice. I have experience with a few people a few people that are elderly already, but they've never been happy their whole entire life. And they're elderly now, they have no friends, and maybe sometimes their children aren't talking to them because I'm not like talking down on them, like they've had a very challenging time, right? But no matter what, if you try to bring something positive up, they'll figure out how to tear that down and what's wrong with it. Constantly looking down. And we can try to advise people, and this is another thing, that it's so much easier when we do it at a younger age. Look for good, look for the good, look for the positive. This is Rabbi Nachman's whole main message. Always try to see good things. Always try to see good qualities in people. Always try to see where you are. This whole story of the Tam is to be in a low place and say, wow, I'm able to serve Hashem from this place. Hashem put me here. Wow, Hashem gave me everything that I need. We're going to see, the Tam says, I have a piece of bread, and I'm so happy that I have this bread to eat. He does some other interesting avodas with it, which we'll talk about, right? But thank you, Hashem. I know what you're saying, but this is what you want me to do every morning. Thank you, Hashem, that I can walk. Yeah, try. Just look for good things to be thankful for. I think this is one of the reasons, by the way, why that the Breslov Mashpim and Rav Nissan himself said that one of the ingredients that you always must have in Hispoidus, if you go to speak to Hashem, you go to meditate, talk to Hashem, one of the things you always have to have in there is hoida, to be thankful, gratitude. You have to throw in gratitude. And as soon as you start to just talk to Hashem and just start thinking about things to be thankful for, whatever they are, there's for sure always things, right? It turns you into a different person. It trains you to be seeing Hashem in the world instead of seeing Klipa and Satan, right? This is what it is. Hashem is good, and the rest of it is the evil side. Do you want to always look at the evil side and always be looking at illusion and suffering and pain? So, to whatever extent we can do it. If I have nothing to be thankful for, if everything is so bad, I have no relationships, I don't have money, I don't have food, I don't have anything. Okay, at least I can say, thank you, Hashem. I woke up today. Thank you, Hashem, I can walk today. Baruch Hashem, we're all way beyond that. And we have so much to be thankful for. So much to be thankful for. This is the avodah of the Tam. And the first step. And in Mitzvah Hashem, next week we'll continue. We'll see Rav Kiwak on this, and we'll keep going in Rav Arush. Any questions or comments?
Happiness is an inside job.
Happiness is an inside job. Okay, I like it. I'm on board. Very good. Anyone else?